back in the woods.
Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, back out here at the Pathfinder School property. We are going to continue to set our trap line for coyotes. We set a trap yesterday and did a dirt hole set on the back corner edge of the property next to the wildlife area, which is 4,000 acres. We have plenty of area here on the Pathfinder School property that we can set a few traps to run a short trap line just for coyotes right now. It's not trapping season yet in Ohio. It won't be until November. So I'm not doing sets for beaver and coon and things like that I will do as the season progresses. You'll get to see all of those different sets. We'll talk about all those different animals. So just be patient with me. Right now what I want to do is I want to concentrate on upland sets for coyote. Now once in a while you're going to get a non-target animal in one of those sets. And Ohio state law, the way it reads as far as I can tell, is that coyote trapping is open all year round. So if you catch a non-target animal in your trap, what do? Well, what I can see in the fur bearer trapping laws is that any animal caught in a fur-bearing trap that is a fur bearer is to be dispatched on the spot and reduced to the owner of that trap possession. So if we happen to catch something that's a non-target animal in one of these traps, we'll have to dispatch it. I went and checked that first trap this morning. It was undisturbed and there was nothing in it. What that tells me is nothing, because generally, from what the experts tell me, it takes 24 to 48 hours for that set to settle down, any human scent that's left over to dissipate, and then you'll probably start catching animals if you've got a good set. So I don't expect anything to even hit that trap for another day, maybe two. We'll check it every day, and every day we'll set a couple more traps. Today what we're going to do is we're going to set a flat set with a burnt log backing, okay? Burnt wood is very attractive to most animals. They just like to sniff of it and things like that. It makes them curious. I've got a spot that's kind of on a hill right here. There is a old broke down building behind me in the weeds, and there's an old fence post right here that's right on the corner of a wooded island. And there's also a thoroughfare right here, and you'll see it better when I turn the camera around, but there's a wooded island that comes up here and goes around where that corner post is. Straight across from that, there's another wood island, and there's a very narrow opening here. This opens up into a pasture that goes down into a flatter area, but it has a high ridge all the way across it. That ridge will be another good place for a set, as well as in the bottom corner down here, we'll put another type set. So I wanted to show you this burnt wood set first. So let's get that set up. I'll get the camera set up for an over-the-shoulder view. It'll be very similar to yesterday's set, except we're going to use burnt wood for our backing, and that will also be an attractant, a visual attractant. Okay, I've got an area here that's kind of dead grass that's only about 3 feet from that corner post. Now that post doesn't look like it's being used as a urine post, which is another type set that we're going to set in another area. If I thought that post was already being used that way by a coyote, I would set right on that post, but I don't think it is. So we're going to use this burnt piece of wood right out of a fire, and we're going to put it up this direction as a backing, or this direction, so that burnt sticks up. That's going to be very visually attracting to an animal. The same as yesterday, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dig a trap bed first. And I'm going to dig this out big enough we got some roots and stuff in here I have to contend with. That's okay. I'm digging this out deep enough, first of all, so that I can get my stake. Oh, look at that. Nice big fat grub right there. Fishing bait on the fly. Gotta love that. Okay. Same thing, we're using a 1 3/4 coil spring trap. I'm gonna go ahead and set this trap. And there again, as long as I'm holding on to this frame and this front operating jaw, I'm in good shape. I'm not going to get snapped in that trap. Pan's nice and level. Adjust my pan travel just a little bit here. Make sure I can see some space in here. That's a real touchy trap. Pan's nice and level. I'll set that off to the side. Now, let's get our earth anchor in the ground below where our trap's going to be. When you start to hit ground it's so hard you can't pound through it, you're probably deep enough. Or go right to this loop and no further, so that you've got something to grab onto beside your trap chain to pull that thing back out. Okay. Let's get ourselves some dirt over that. Give myself a nice soft level bed for this trap. Get any roots and sticks out of our way. We don't need those. Get our chain good and buried now. We can drop this bad boy right in the dirt. Make sure our chain's out of our way. Bring some more dirt in here to pack him down. Go ahead and put a pan cover over top of our trap before we get too much further here, so that we can make sure nothing gets underneath this pan. And right now we're safe to kind of scrape under this pan with our finger. We've got the jaw out of our way. There's no way we can get caught in that trap. Get any roots and things out of our way. There's another free fishing grub right there. That's two. Like them free. Okay. We got our pan cover over the top now. Now we can start to get this trap bedded in real good. We don't want sod in there. I just want dirt. And again, you might get yourself in a situation where you've got to go get some dirt from somewhere else when you're dealing with a lot of sod. Get our sifter pan and get some of this dirt and sod on top of it here. And we can kind of grind it through like this to get some dirt in that trap and around it. And by grinding that sod, you'll get some of that dirt off of it. Just like that. I had a guy yesterday talking about, he didn't realize that, this was about buying a bunch of stuff to go out and trap. It's really not. You can use wooden stakes for this stuff if you want to. You don't have to necessarily use earth anchors or metal stakes of any kind. The only thing you really have to buy are the traps. Everything else you can make or is created from other trapping. It's easy enough to catch junk animals or food type animals like raccoon and possum and things like that, and you can use their pieces and parts for baits and lures. It's easy enough to do. It's not a big deal. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy lures or buy scents and baits and things like that if you don't want to. I'll take those two grubs with me for fishing. Put them in this trap bag, or in this pan bag. Now, we're not going to dig a dirt hole in this one, so we want this backing right in front of our trap. Okay? We might put a stake behind it just to hold it up so that no wind would blow it down. And then we'll put some filter material like this in here so that we know that animal's going to step on our trap, because he's going to put his foot wherever it's most comfortable for him to do that. And we want to make the most comfortable spot, like I said, for him to put his foot right where our trap is. And we don't want to go out here beyond the area of the back jaw. This will also give us some good material to lean our burnt log against here when he comes sniffing. Now we could put a dirt hole in here as well if we wanted to, right below this burnt log, but it's not really necessary. Now, we know we want our animal to put his foot right there. So again, you know, coyote poop is great stuff. I'm going to put some of this right here so I know he's not going to put his foot here. And I'm going to push this backing up against it. And then I'm going to crowd this trap right here on this side. And I'll probably even put one of these pieces of stick or chafe right here so that he's not going to put his foot on that stick. He's only going to put his foot where he feels real comfortable doing it. Any place we make it uncomfortable for him to put his foot, we're better off. Cover that pan up real good. We're almost good there. I like about, you know, less than 1/4 of an inch or right at 1/4 of an inch of dirt covering my pan. Pull that piece of coyote poop up and shake it off. That way I know that, now we've got a little bit of an area right here in the front, and that's okay. He'll step into that. We're just going to kind of pat it down and make it level. He'll step right through that. That's not a big deal. Matter of fact, it might bring him in closer for us, and that'd be fine too. Like I said, we want to crowd that pan real good here and make this thing look as natural as we can, where it looks like something's dug right here a little bit, and that's fine. Now, we're not going to put any lure on this set. Okay, this is a very natural set. Everything that we've used other than a trap right here to attract this animal is pretty much natural. We are going to spray this thing down with some fox urine. That's more of a cover scent as well as an attractant. But any animal that you catch, obviously you're going to take his bladder and you're going to use those contents for your next trap. Now, if I wanted to call this animal from a long ways away, I might use some type of a long range call and just kind of put it up on top here, just like this. And a little goes a long ways. It doesn't take much. Okay? And again, I'm paying attention to the wind. And if I'm going to do anything with this stick, other than take it with me, I'm going to put it in my set once it's tainted. And this is not necessary. This is just a bonus. This is just something I'm doing that's extra. I'm going to put that right down in the dirt right there, right in front of my pan. Okay? You could set this just like it is and walk away from it and probably catch an animal. All I'm trying to do is improve my odds. It's no different than anything else that you do. You're just trying to improve your odds all the time. So he's going to step up into this set, and I want him to put his foot right here. I don't want any chafe or anything over that pan. The pan's right there, okay? We'll put this on mist. Mist this down. Squirt it up a little bit with some fox urine. And leave it. Okay guys, the last couple things I'm going to do before I leave this set. Yesterday was the first trap that we set, and I marked it on my GPS. I just didn't show you guys what I was doing. What I generally do with my traps, and this is the way I was taught to do it, I've got a Garmin Rhino GPS, and I've always got my route calculating in here, so it's following me everywhere I go. I hit the mark button when I am ready to set a trap, and I'm on number 015 waypoint. And once I hit OK on that, the little man's sticking a flag in the ground. I'll go to my trapping book. I'll open it up to the page where my waypoints are at, and I will mark 015 and I will put 1 3/4 double coil spring, coyote, burnt set. And again, this is a 1, 2, 3-way junction on the corner of an island, and I'll write those notes down. Now, I do not generally mark my traps in any way. Nobody has any business being where I'm at and where I'm trapping. This is my property, or it's 6 miles deep into a wildlife area in the back where nobody's going to go to begin with. So as long as I have my traps marked on my GPS, I know where they're at. I know what my sets look like. If you mark your traps, especially if you're trapping public areas like highways, ravines, under railroad passes, and things like that, you're going to get traps stolen, you're going to get animals stolen. You've got to mark your trap on the chain somewhere. You need a metal tag in most states with your unique identification number or your name and address. Again, I'm trapping on private property here. Nobody should be here. If a person stepped in one of these traps, it's not going to hurt them a bit. It's not going to hurt your boot. It's just going to be frustrating trying to get it off your boot, but it's not going to hurt you a bit. If a dog or something like that, or another animal were to step in this trap, like a deer's going to pull right out of it and be gone. It's not going to hurt him a bit. A dog would get caught in a trap like this. But again, private property, I don't expect any dogs to be out here. I've seen one dog in the wildlife area that was a wild dog. If I catch him in the trap, I'll just dispatch him. There shouldn't be any dogs or neighbors' cats or anything else out here around these traps. So I don't expect to catch anything other than wild animals in it. But if you have to think about those things, then you're probably setting your traps in the wrong place. I appreciate you guys joining me for another video in this modern trapping series with the burnt set. We're going to move on and do a couple other sets, and we'll talk about them as well. I appreciate you joining me for this video. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I appreciate everything that you do for me and for my family. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can.